Okay, I'm William Kentriji. I'm an artist who lives and works in Johannesburg, South Africa. I make drawings, films, theatre productions, operas, sculpture. It's always a pleasure to be back in Korea with a different project. I'm very happy to see what audiences here from a very different context make of work that is made in South Africa, but obviously is not only about South Africa. So there are two pieces which are being presented at the GSAtcen터. The first is a double bill of an animated film called The Moment Has Gone with live musicians performing. And the second is a chamber opera, Waiting for the Sibyl, which is 6 singers and some dancers and performers. It doesn't have a narrative, but it has an arc. It's about the Sibyl, about our future, about a prophet. How can we understand our lives and our future? And the music for both of these is written by Talkㅣ윌리엄. It's very different from the Oh to Believe in Another World, which is a symphony written by the Russian composer Dmitri Shostakovich. It's a symphony which was written just after the death of Stalin, and so it's a way of looking back over history at artists and composers in the Soviet period. I would love there to be new images all the time, but somehow they're hard to come by, and so the same old images, a rhinoceros, a coffee pot, a bird, appear. It's a bit like the Commedia dell'arte, where you would have certain stock characters, not so much, where there are stock characters that put different performances, different plays, always keeping the same character. So the coffee pot always gets called out to perform again and again. A lot of the technologies are analog, although obviously film is recorded digitally now and the editing is done digitally. But essentially the analog is the charcoal drawing or the cutting of cardboard and paper. You could do a drawing digitally to look like a cardboard or look like a charcoal drawing, but in fact it's much more direct to make the drawing itself. I think it has to do with the body being involved. If you're working digitally, you're essentially working with your fingers, whereas in the studio it's about the full extent of one's body being in the work. One of the things that's clear in the studio is there's a possibility of transformation, of change. You can do a drawing, you can erase it. It's not certain which is the final state. So the idea of uncertainty or doubt is very built into the processes of the studio. And what the studio can show you about the world outside are some of these processes. So the way one constructs a possible meaning of the world in a drawing, one is aware that there could be many different drawings. And it's a way of thinking of the outside world also where there's a possible making sense of it through different fragments and connecting different ideas together rather than discovering one big idea. In Johannesburg, we have an art center which I co-founded, which is called the Center for the Less Good Idea. Not the good idea, but the less good idea. And the name comes from an African proverb which says, if the good doctor can't cure you, find the less good doctor. In other words, when the grand ideas of the world don't work, look for things in the cracks in the sides, other ideas and roots. And this very often happens in collaboration, when looking at improvisation, when different actors and musicians come together, that there are surprises that emerge. So you have a first idea, but one needs to be alive and open to what emerges in the process of making. And that's the heart of the Center for the Less Good Idea. And it's the principle of working with many different collaborators that I have. I think that humans are very good at inventing a possible context. Even when you don't know it, you imagine what it might be, which may be inaccurate, but it still is possible for me to imagine it. In the same way, people, even if they don't know South African history or the specific references, when they watch it, you imagine what it might possibly be. And I think this is an important way we understand the world, through a generous openness.